I've been drawing mandalas using this unique little program that I have on my iPad for maybe 2 years now. And I found that it's just such a relaxing experience. I think that when I first downloaded the app in order to make these designs, I just kind of thought of it as just like a toy. I didn't think it would be too serious. And I remember that as I started playing around with it, I started to really discover just how satisfying the process was. So today, I'd like it if you joined me so that we could create a couple of these. I'd like to really show you how easy it is, and if you do have an iPad, this is an excellent thing to try out. I know that there are other programs that you can use that you might be able to use on your cell phone or on other devices. Just for this video, I'm just going to show you the one that I use on my iPad. And that program in particular is simply called Mandalas with an S at the end. And you can use any other program. They're pretty simple to use. I haven't really tried too many others just because I was so happy with this one. But yeah, I'd like to share that with you today. So how about we just go ahead and get started, and I'm going to go over there and grab my iPad and I will show you how to use this simple little program so you can have some time relaxing and just create some nice designs that you can print out and play with afterwards. So how about we get started? So first of all, the good thing is that this program is free, and once you get it downloaded, just go ahead and tap on it and it's going to take you to your documents folder. Just hit that plus sign that says create mandala and you're going to get a blank file like this. You're going to want to select on the right hand side a couple of things. Now you can change the amount of rotations, but you definitely want to turn on the mirror and the show guides so you can see what you're working with. So you see you got all these nice little lines, and you can change the number of rotations. You can bring it up or down. I think the maximum is 12. So you'll see right here, I think I'm just going to go with 10. Now I do see 20 lines, but that's because I have the mirror turned on. So for this first drawing, with the mirror option turned on, I'm going to show you what kind of designs you can create. Notice that on the right lower hand side, you can change the size of your brush. So you can make it a little larger, a little smaller, depending on really what it is that you want to draw at the time. I kind of just tend to use the two smallest ones because, of course, I like to make lots and lots of little details in my drawings. So that's what I'm going with here. So right now I'm using that second largest one. And so I'm just kind of starting, playing around. Go ahead and just try lots of different shapes. You're going to see what happens. The good thing is that you have that little button on the upper left hand side that lets you remove anything that you just aren't happy with. And so that's really easy. It makes it very stress free. It makes it so much easier so you can just play around. And so you can see what I basically do is I just use it like it's just a pen. There are actually other options on the lower left hand side that allow you to create a few different effects, but I find that I don't use them very often. Of course, you go ahead and just click on that and play around with it. See what kind of things you'd like to create. There is a lot of fun stuff to do here. I generally just use the simple brush and I just make lines. As you see me here, I'm just adding lines. And often when I don't really know what I want to do, I kind of just create these patterns that look like petals, and I just keep it simple because, for starters, although I would like to create a really wonderful finished product, the truth is that as I get started, I really just need to play. Sometimes I might just make one that's kind of just a test run and I just play around and I just see what kind of shapes I can create. So when you're using this, make sure that you're just playing. Just test some shapes. Go back into your repertoire, maybe look into your sketchbooks or any other drawings that you've done, and just try to see what kind of shapes appeal to you and start trying them out here. You'll start noticing a lot of really wonderful things going on. So you can see here I'm creating this kind of like a lotus or a flower, and I'm just adding it here, just creating an entire circle of those. And it's just so nice the way this works up so quickly. So already I have all this work done, and it really only took a couple of minutes. And of course, especially after you get a lot of good practice, you're going to see that you're going to be creating these faster and faster. So here I am, I'm just adding a few little details using the smallest of the brushes, and just kind of slowly taking my time kind of filling it in. Just adding a few little circles. And again, just because it does that radial symmetry, it fills it in so fast and it's just so nice. And occasionally I just zoom out a little bit just to see what's going on, and then I can zoom back in. And now to zoom in and out, as with most other programs, all you're going to do is use your two fingers to kind of pinch in and out. That's what allows you to move through the drawing that way. So here I'm just going to add a few more lines. I have a tendency to most of the time use the smallest one. That way I can control the lines a little more. But of course, try using the different brushes. You're going to find that probably something that you want to do is going to be different than what I do. So feel free. Try all the different things. And I'll show you briefly in a little bit once we're done with this. I will show you how to save the images and how to print them out, of course. Because the fun part of this will be once you are done and you can print them out and color them and have lots of fun. Maybe you want to frame them or add them onto other works, onto some collages or other things like that. So here you can see that I'm just adding lots of arches. That's another nice design that you can use when you're doing this, is add a lot of arches. Play around with it. Try to see what kind of shapes you can do. Sometimes less is better. And so as you're trying to create these, I know that when I first got started, I had a tendency to add lots and lots and lots and lots of patterns. And that is very satisfying, of course, but sometimes you want to make a few less patterns. And so give that a try. That's just my own personal experience. Is what happened is I think it would take me forever to try to make one of these just because I think I make lots of little details. But recently I've been trying to just kind of pan out, like zoom out. And some of my designs are a little bit more simplified, and I think that I find that to be pretty satisfying too. So you can see here, I just added this arch, and I'm leaving the inside of the arch empty. So I think that's going to be really nice when I print it out, and I'll color that area in really nicely with a nice background color. And so on the arch, I'm just adding these kind of petals, just decorating around the outside of it. And as usually, I like to add little circles. Those are always a lot of fun. And it just looks so nice. So here we go. This is what I created. It didn't take very long. Now, of course, I have practiced with this for a couple of years. So I'm beginning to understand the kind of designs that I like to make. Now, if you make yours and you're a little frustrated with it, just start a new one. I'll show you in a sec how to start a new one. But play around with it. Remember, this is just for fun. If you make something wonderful, you can print it out. But in the meantime, just kind of play around and see what you can do. You can also change the colors. So in this drawing, I'm not changing the colors. I'm simply using black. But if you want to, you can find on the lower right-hand side, there is a little paint palette, and you can change the colors if you want to. So what I'm going to do when I'm done here is I'm just going to save the image. And I want to show you what's going to happen the first time. You're going to hit the upload, and this is what's going to come up. It's going to ask you to purchase it for $2.99, and honestly, I would just do it. Just purchase the paid version for $3, and you're going to be able to download this image, and it's going to be in a very high quality. So I really do recommend that you do that. This isn't sponsored or anything. And when you're ready, just hit New Document, and you don't need to tell it to save the old document. It's just going to do it right away, and it's going to put it into your documents. And so when you hit New Document, you get a new one, and here we're going to play around again, and we're going to create another one here. So again, this process is pretty quick. It's really nice that you can just make lots and lots of these. And so what I want you to pay attention to is look at how this is swirling around like that. So the reason that this is happening is, and I showed very briefly just a second ago, is that I can turn on and off that mirror. When I turn the mirror on, I have that perfect symmetry, just like this. And things just kind of mirror each other really nicely along the design. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you have twice as many lines, those little gray lines that are kind of guiding you. You'll have twice as many. However, if you go back and turn that option off, so I'll show you right now. If you go and turn the mirror off like that, you get half as many. And here's what you're going to be able to do if you turn that mirror off. you can make a design and it's no longer symmetric along that line that disappeared. Now it's actually fully radial, like that image rotates in a different way, and it's just really nice. I hate to say this, but it actually took me a while to discover this. I don't know why. For the most part, I always had the mirror on when I first made these designs, and it was fun. It was great. So here I'm going to turn it back on. But it really, really took me a long time to figure out that this option was available, and I've just been having so much fun adding these extra little details in. Now, when you do go and play around with it, keep in mind that if you first have the option off and then you decide to turn the mirror back on, some of your designs might overlap. So I really do recommend that you do what I'm going to do here, or what I actually did in a few seconds ago, where you create an area to draw your pattern inside of. Because if you don't have that, they will overlap, so just keep that in mind as you play around with it. Make little zones inside of which you can create your designs. So for now, I just added these little shapes here. It almost looks like a stylized flower. And I am going to add in just a second another one of these designs, and I want to show you what I mean when I say to create a little area for yourself. So I'm just going to start off with this kind of black area. I like to do that. It really helps add a little more dimension to the drawing, is adding a few zones that are simply black. So I'm just going to make these little arches that I can work with. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to select my brush. I think I'm going to use this second one, so not the smallest, and I'm going to make this area right here so that it's already mirrored and symmetrical. And that way when I turn off the mirror, I know that I can stay inside of that zone and nothing is going to overlap. So let me make another one of these. And no, actually I think I want to make it in the other direction. So let's go this way. And you can make lots of other designs, of course. This isn't the only thing. I just want to make these little simple swirls here. So there you see it's in there, and now I know that nothing is going to interfere with that drawing. So I'm going to get the smaller one and just add a few designs inside of here. Maybe just a few like this. A few leaves just to kind of accent that area. Nothing is overlapping. It all still looks pretty good. Let me add a few more here. And then the design, as it heads over, I think I'm just going to add a little more black and just a few little details. Again, it's always so nice to just be able to undo. If one of your lines turns out a little wonky, you can just go in there. And I will admit that this does require a little bit of a steady hand. So if you're a bit shaky or uncertain, then you might want to be a little more patient with yourself. Because if you're shaky, you're going to make little squiggly lines, or just kind of go with it. Squiggly lines might be nice. So there's that design right now. And you notice nothing interfered. And now I can turn my mirror back on and I can continue creating more designs on the outside of this. So I think I'm just going to add a few sweeping lines right here. It's always nice to have some of that repetition. And again, I am using this with a steady hand right now. I feel pretty confident about that. Sometimes when I don't have a steady hand, I get nice little squiggly lines. And I just kind of accept it. You can always go back in, of course, and add more designs on the inside if you feel like it. So I think this one looks pretty good, but I still have more space, so I'm going to add just one more design, I believe, to the top of this. So again, I'm going to start with a nice little black spot right here. Just scribbling in some black. And what I think I want to do is create this sort of a leaf, very wide. And this is how I start it, with just this teardrop shape at the center. And then I just start adding some lines, these nice curved lines. It's just so much fun watching all of these lines just kind of bloom. I make one line and it makes 20. It's just so nice. And there we go. So there's my leaf shape. Just really nice. And I think I don't want to leave it like this. I'm going to add a few more embellishments to this really quickly. So just like this, just a little swirl. And I'm going to close it off so that it's like that. And while I'm finishing this up, I would like to mention that you may be tempted to rotate the image, but there is no rotating of the image. All you want to do is that if you're uncomfortable drawing in a particular direction, just move to a different section of your drawing. And that way you'll be able to kind of create on that side. So you'll notice that you can't really flip it around like you do with most other things. You just kind of move and work on a different edge, like the left edge or the top edge or something like that. And so when you're done, again, you're just going to download it, and that would be up here. And then you just say image, which is the JPG, and you can just save it or you can print it. So when I hit print, you just do your usual thing, and you'll notice that it's in the center. You just go over to the dark room and let your printer do its job so that it can kind of spit out a nice, lovely little copy for you. And so here is mine. And again, by paying the $3, again, this isn't sponsored at all. This really helps support the companies. It really helps support the makers of these. And here you go. It's perfect like this. You can just go ahead and play with it. I do like to do other things with mine because I do turn these sometimes into coloring pages for some of you, or for selling on different sites. So I do adjust these and move them around on the page to create different designs, and these are a few of mine. So I hope that you give this a try if you have an iPad. If you don't, please don't feel bad. This isn't super necessary. You can always do this by hand, but I just wanted to show you a different way, an alternative. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you like the designs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.